Make sure to subscribe and join the channel membership for more exclusive content.
You're not wrong. And Bryant says Zach Wilson would be a Niner if we had the second pick. Thank God we didn't have the second pick. I want no part of Zach Wilson. I wanted no part of Zach Wilson before the draft. It's all about Trey Lance, and it should have always been about Trey Lance. They made the right pick, period. And you talked about the mental game for him, right? Obviously, there's all the physical abilities. This man is mobile. He's got a strong arm. He's 6'4", 230 pounds, right? But the mental aspect is why I wanted Trey Lance to be a 49er. Okay. When I first watched him, I said, this kid with Shanahan could be the biggest disaster because I felt like he was extremely raw and I didn't trust Shanahan to really build on him. But the more that I watched him and the more I got to know what type of player he was, not only through interviews, reading articles, but talking to his quarterback coach multiple times, I started to realize how good this kid is and how much of a savant he truly is, how much he loves the game, how hard of a worker he is, how much he's been pressed down and said that he cannot do it. Coming into college, teams wanted him from the Big Ten. They wanted him to be a safety or a linebacker. He wanted to play quarterback. That's why he ended up at NDSU. All right. And when you talk about the mental side, we talk about Jimmy Garoppolo and his limitations from a physical standpoint on a regular basis. What holds Jimmy back the most is not the physical, it is the mental. Like if I'm comparing Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance is way up here from a mental standpoint, and Jimmy Garoppolo is way down here. He makes the same mistakes over and over and over. They talk about how long it took him to really grasp the playbook. Trey Lance, in 2 weeks, knew the playbook. Now, that doesn't mean he's ready to execute the playbook, but everybody talks about learning the playbook and how verbose it is. He had it down in 2 weeks. His quarterback coach said that right here on Last Second Sports. And then Kyle Shanahan confirmed that before the Texans game. So these are things that we've been knowing about Trey Lance. A lot of people don't want to talk about those things. When Trey Lance breaks the pocket or gets mobile, he's looking to throw. This is not a run first quarterback. I understand that that is the perception based off of what you saw in the Arizona game. That was not Trey Lance's problem. That was Shanahan self admittedly not knowing how to use Trey Lance and using him in that manner. Okay. That is not a Trey Lance problem. That is not a Trey Lance trait. In fact, I would argue that he's not the most athletic guy when he looks to break the pocket outside of the tackle box. That is not really a big part of his game. He looks to stay in the pocket, move around, shuck off a tackle, look downfield, and then if he has nothing, he'll break it up the middle. That is a strength of his. But this man also plays very conservative. The one thing, Sunil, interestingly enough, that actually gave me the biggest room for pause when I watched Trey Lance is that I thought he was almost too conservative considering all the athletic ability that he brought to the table. What changed my mind and what showed me that that is not necessarily the case is that practice footage that came out over the last week, showing the creativity. Now, I know that he's always been able to improvise, right? Break the pocket, keep his eyes downfield, make certain throws, roll out left. Instead of looking at the 5-yard check down like Shanahan wants him to, he's going to throw 15 yards downfield and complete a pass. He's always been able to improvise. But one thing that, in talking about Zach Wilson, that I did like about Zach Wilson was the arm angles and the creativities of his throws. I didn't see that from Trey Lance. You see that from Mahomes. You see that from Allen. And Trey Lance never really showed me a lot of that. He certainly showed me that in a lot of those practice clips. I'm even more excited and more confident than I was in Trey Lance a year ago. And if you heard me talk about Trey Lance a year ago, you know that I was all in on this kid. I thought he would be a starter day one. I thought he should have been a starter day one. I stand by that. Trey Lance is going to be that deal. And I promise you, if you don't get on board now, every single one of us are going to keep receipts and you're going to look real silly when this man at the end of 2023 looks like the best quarterback out of this draft and is a consistent top 5 to 7 quarterback in the NFL, because that is exactly what he's going to be. So jump on the train now. I've given you chances all last offseason. Before the draft, I told you this man was going to be the pick. I told you he was going to be the pick, and I told you he was the right pick. Now we've had a year. You've seen glimpses of it. Get on board before it's too late, because I promise you he will make you look silly if you don't.